Good morning. I'm Ben Quelle, the Veteran Service Officer, and on behalf of the City of Attleboro and the veterans of Attleboro, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our annual Hillside Memorial Service. Once again, big man upstairs has shined as it relates to our weather, and hopefully it'll continue for tomorrow's parade. So, as we always do, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that you join our veterans in the posting of our colors. Commander Rio, post the colors.
Crossover. Ed, crossover. Crossover. Move up, Ed. Okay. You want to stand behind it?
Yeah, we gotta stand with it.
Order. Fellow citizens, would you now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Normally, at this point in the service, our invocation would be given by our chaplain, Don Vandal, who is not able to join us this morning, but he will be making every effort to join us tomorrow for our parade. So if you'll bear with me, I'll try to do my best to fill in for him. Would you please bow your heads? A prayer by Austin Fleming. In the quiet sanctuaries of our hearts, let each of us name and call on the one whose power over us is great and gentle, firm and forgiving, holy and healing. You who created us, who sustain us, who call us to live in peace, hear our prayer this day. Hear our prayer for all who have died, whose hearts and hopes are known to you alone. Hear our prayer for those who put the welfare of others ahead of their own, and give us hearts as generous as theirs. Hear our prayer for those who gave their lives in the service of others, and accept the gift of their sacrifice. Help us to shape and make a world where we will lay down the arms of war and turn our swords into plowshares for a harvest of justice and peace. Comfort those who grieve the loss of their loved ones, and let your healing be the hope in our hearts. Hear our prayer this day, and in your mercy, answer us. In the name of all that is holy, the peace of God be with you. Amen. The American Revolution, 178,800. The Civil War, 698,000. World War I, 116,708. World War II, 407,316. The Korean War, 36,516. The Vietnam War, 58,220. The Persian Gulf War, 148. The Global War on Terrorism, 7,125. Total U.S. deaths on the battlefield, 1,502,708. Yes, this is a holiday. Yes, we do and should celebrate the lives that donned a uniform and paid the ultimate price needed to preserve this incredible human experiment called America. However, this weekend's festivities must be done with humility. These tragic estimates that I have just read to you are extremely conservative. They do not paint the entire picture of what we have come to know as the cost of war. Many thousands more have lost their lives to disease and mental health, byproducts felt not just by the veteran, but by all who knew and loved them. In 2022 alone, 6,407 combat veterans took their own lives. An estimated 300,000 Vietnam veterans have died from complications related to Agent Orange exposure. As it relates to the battlefield KIAs, the key word to remember is young. We all know and love a young person in our lives. I myself am raising 4 of my own. These combat casualties were not seasoned adults. They never had the chance to fall in love, get married, start a family, walk a loved one down the aisle, attend a graduation, host a family gathering, or any other number of fond memories we have afforded ourselves. Their lives were snuffed out in the blink of an eye. When combined alone, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, there were over 81,000 sets of U.S. parents that never even had a body to bury. The members of the VFW and the American Legion here today are not looking for a thank you. They are only asking that you not forget their fallen comrades. So when you leave here today, remember that your time in this life is a precious gift, a gift that can be both given and taken at any time. For those that gave it on the field of battle, that will forever be more than a gift to our nation, but a debt we shall never repay. In celebration of the democracy in which these young men and women gave their lives, I'd now ask to the podium some of our elected officials to give a few remarks. First, I'd call to the podium the duly elected State Senator of Bristol County, Mr. Paul Feeney.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. What a special tradition we have here in the City of Attleboro to gather here first thing in the morning on Memorial Day weekend. It's an honor, once again, to have this opportunity to join with all of you in community, to participate in a ceremony that truly shows the best of us, even when we look around and divisiveness seems to rule the day and cynicism rules the day. We gather here with each other, and I think we show truly the best of us here in the city. As young people and old people gather on patches of grass this weekend throughout the Commonwealth, we are reminded that we have a solemn obligation to do so. And where we stand, no matter how we got here or where we depart to, for these moments, for this moment right now, we stand on holy ground. Sacred, not just because of the location of, but the reason for such a gathering. In fact, this ceremony and the thousands like it this weekend across our nation is a living, breathing prayer for those souls lost in defense of our ideals, of our values. It's a way for us to reconnect with the individuals who may not be able to physically stand with you and I today, but who most certainly stood for us in their lifetime. As we gather to pause, to reflect, and to remember, I contemplate myself what I would say, if given the chance to connect with a hero who perished fighting for a cause so much greater than themselves. That cause, my friends, was us. Think about that. The heroes that we honor today died for a cause. That cause was us. So what would you say? If you were able to connect, whether it's through prayer or in person, to one of these heroes, is thank you enough? Certainly right, and those words are powerful. But is it enough? What other words exist that may convey such gratitude and honor that we feel deeply in our hearts? Do they actually exist? Are there any words that may be adequate to utter to a person that loved us enough to lay down their life so that we may live ours in freedom, with hope, with opportunity? I would venture to say that no words would truly ever be adequate. That to truly honor their sacrifice, it's our actions that speak a heck of a lot louder than our words, my friends. It's certainly the action that you all took today to take time out of your lives to join in this ceremony this weekend. It is most definitely the action that many of the folks that had joined us this morning took in their lives by donning the uniform, raising your hand, and serving with honor, willing to make that same sacrifice if called upon. I would submit, however, that to honor their lives, to truly honor their lives, we are called to act in small ways every day, to live our lives as proud Americans in a way that is truly worthy of their sacrifice. How do we do that? How do we do that? You don't have to join the military. You don't have to serve in public service. You don't have to do the big things. You just need to bloom where you're planted. Where there is fear, let us continue to give comfort to people. Where there is pain, let us be the healer. Where there is division, let us be uniters. Where there is poverty, let us provide. Where there is hopelessness, let us spread hope. Where there is hate, there's a lot of that these days. Where there is hate, let us show love. Let's lift each other up, even when it's tough to do so. The heroes that laid down their lives did so for a greater purpose and a better world. Let's use today to recommit ourselves in their honor to live our lives for the same. I want to thank so much the veterans that are here with us today. To any Gold Star families, I can't begin to imagine your pain, but I pray every single day for your solace. I wish everybody here in Attleboro a happy summer ahead, a reflective weekend. I thank you for the opportunity to once again be with you here in this holy ground to honor those that fought for us. May God bless the city of Attleboro. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Feeney. Next up to the podium, also another elected representative of our fine community in our state's legislature, State Representative Jim Hawkins.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you to all the veterans from both posts who have come to make this such an important event every Memorial Day. This is one of the most meaningful things I do all year. Ben kind of set the stage with a number of deaths and the horror and the sacrifice that so many people have made for us to be here living and breathing in this community. I can't personally wrap my head around how lonely a place it must be to die in combat in some other part of the world, or the empty spot that must leave in the families of all our hard-fighting veterans. So thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to speak every year. This is very important, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to call to the podium some of our elected officials right here in our fine city. I can't do my job without them. We can't do anything without them, and they always support the veterans in every way they possibly can. So if I could now have our duly elected mayor, Cathleen DeSimone, come to the podium and say a few words. Mayor?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure this morning. Another beautiful Sunday morning. And I want to thank all the veterans who are here with us today. And I want to follow Ben's comments, because when you hear about the loss, it's really the loss. It's the trauma that remains for those that survived and the family members. That's mine. Thank you, Ben. And also what could have been. All those men and women who died in battle, what might they have been? What might they have done for our country? So the losses are profound, they are deep, they are lasting. Having said that, I want to echo what the senator just said. as we gather here in this beautiful place to honor and remember those we can never forget. It is important to honor our fallen heroes regardless of how many decades or centuries have passed, because they deserve to be remembered for giving all that they can give so that we can enjoy our freedom. I have been fortunate to attend several ceremonies at Hillside and parades in the city for Memorial Day, and each is special and meaningful in its own right. And each reminds me to reflect on what it means to honor and remember. It is not just words, at least it should not be. If these parades and ceremonies are to mean anything, the service and sacrifices of the men and women who have fallen and the family members who have been so impacted and traumatized by those events, they must inspire us to do better and to be better Americans, and to never take for granted the legacy of freedom that they have given us. We are here because of them. Freedom can never be taken for granted. Although it is our birthright, it is constantly under attack and must consistently be defended, not necessarily and only by war, but by our actions, by the choices we make, by the Americans we are, because folks, I'm sure you already know this, but we are and will be the greatest country in this world, and I think the future will prove that to be so. We are indeed an experiment, and we are doing a hell of a good job. On Memorial Day and every day, we must value our love of country and respect for duty, honor, courage, and character. We must always remember that our soldiers sacrificed and died for the idea that all people are born free and created equal, and indeed we are. We must always remember that our Constitution was founded on compromise and that healthy debate is an important part of our democracy, and we should all be involved in that debate. While we may disagree in our opinions, we know that we share common principles. We are all Americans. And we know that voting is how we best ensure that our government works for us and that our elected officials act not only for their party, we've got enough of that, friends, but put our common interests over self-interest and party politics. Let's be for and about the people. As we mark another Memorial Day, let's rededicate ourselves to being better Americans worthy of the sacrifices of the fallen. All the numbers that Ben mentioned, that was like a knife to the heart. And in so honoring our past, we will secure our better future, devoting ourselves always to the great promise that is America, and that for which our service men and women gave it all. Thank you all. Thanks, Ben.
Oh, I took yours. There you go.
A lot of papers. All right, Ben.
How you doing, my friend?
Thank you very much. That was coming out too. That's why we don't like.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, the city's leadership, obviously starting with the mayor, works very, very closely with my office. I can't do anything without the support of our city's leadership. And I can tell you that I'm given the opportunity to do more for our veterans here in this city than other VSOs do in other communities. They try hard, but I just don't feel like they have the level of support that I have here in this city. So in addition to the mayor, I also always have the support of our city council. And so with that, I would like to call a member of that council to the podium to give a few remarks, City Council Member Jay DiLisio.
Thank you and good morning. And thank you all for being here at what I believe is the country's oldest graveside ceremony. I'm joined today by Vice President of the Municipal Council, Laura Dolan, as well as School Committee Member Scott Domenici. Memorial Day weekend is one of my favorite weekends of the year. Not because of the parades and the cookouts. And anyone who knows me knows I love a good cookout. But all kidding aside, this is one of my favorite weekends because it's a reminder to take a pause from the craziness of everyday life and reflect on what makes our country great. Those that proudly gave all for freedom and liberty. We remember the young men and women that left their homes, left their families, their friends, the comfort of their worlds, and answered a higher calling. A calling where they put us all on their backs and carried us through some of the most difficult times in our nation's history, from our revolution to World War II, to Vietnam, and right through modern conflicts. To those who left and never made it home, today we mourn you. We mourn with their families, their friends, their brothers and sisters that they served with. Today, we sit in silence, filled with appreciation for those strangers that laid down their lives for us. Thank you will never be enough, but for those heroes today, I say thank you. And as I do every year at this ceremony, I like to close with the words from Tim McGraw's song, If You're Reading This. If you're reading this, I'm laying down my gun. I'm hanging up my boots. I'm up here with God, and we're both watching over you. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town, and know my soul is where my mama always prayed it would go. If you're reading this, I'm already home. Thank you, and may God continue to bless Attleboro, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
My fellow citizens, as we've made mention here today, I don't need to explain to you that this is one of, if not the oldest state in the country. But what you may not know is that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts offers more state benefits for veterans and surviving spouses than any other state in the country, something we can be very proud of. There are more veterans agents in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts than any other state in the country. None of that could be possible without the leadership of our state. We've already had our state senator and our state representative here at the podium, but I think it's only fitting then that I also read the words directly from our elected governor. A proclamation. Whereas while the nation was still recovering from the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor the soldiers who had given their lives, celebrating the first Declaration Day. And whereas after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May, is when people remember and honor the memory of all the men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts residents have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life. And whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts residents remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Maura T. Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 26, 2025 to be Memorial Day, and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston this 26th day of May in the year 2025, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 224th. Signed, Maura T. Healey, Governor, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, the three-volley salute is a military tradition dating back to that Revolutionary War. It is founded in the custom of ceasing hostilities to remove the dead from the battlefield. Once complete, both sides would fire 3 volleys to signal that they were ready to resume the battle. Please rise and face the flag for the rendering of the 3-volley salute and the playing of taps. Commander Rio, please take charge of your detail. Thank you, Commander Rio. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. This beautiful weather and this beautiful place we call Attleboro. Once again, thank you to our leadership, our elected representatives in the legislature of our state, our city council members, school committee members, of course our mayor. We'd all like to extend to you a very, very happy and warm Memorial Day, but please, again, this is a very unique celebration. It's okay to have fun this weekend, but let's not remember this is a very unique celebration and that we have to do so in a manner that remembers the fallen. So with that said, I'd like to, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you for attending and have a great and wonderful Memorial Day.